Good morning and welcome to TMI Socials. I am Anwoluwapo Stevens, or better still call me a social media butterfly. Now, do you know that it is now a crime to carry dreadlock? Well, actually in Niger State, as we saw a trending video of the Niger State Governor, Bago, he has come out to direct security agencies to arrest and prosecute anyone found wearing dreadlocks across the state as part of a broader crackdown on insecurity. Well, this directive comes shortly after the governor announced a 12-hour ban on commercial motorcycles, that's Okada, and tricycles, also known as Keke Napep, in Mina, which will be effective daily from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Well, the ban effectively immediately is intended to address rising violence and gang activities within the state capital. Now let's go over to Mina and listen to the governor.
To rascality in Mina. Anybody that you find with barber or dreadlock, arrest him, barb his hair, and fine him. Nobody should carry any kind of health record again inside Mina. I have given you marching order, the security agencies. Anybody you find with a weapon, deal with him as an armed robber. So for parents.
Right, so there you heard it loud and clear. Whenever you're caught in Mina with dreadlock, your hair's going to be cut like Bab, and that's pretty much it. Anyway, how do social media users, especially Gen Zs, take the story online? We kickstart with this user who says, Nigerians keep saying that if young people are given a shot in governance, things will be better. But look at how young people in governance are behaving. Well, another user actually says, moving over to another tweet, this one says, does he realize that some people have natural dreadlocks? This is a form of discrimination. Some of those who govern us are relatively uneducated. Well, still on the story, this user on Instagram wrote, the question is, why did he mention those with dreadlocks? The thing is, every single day in Mina, not less than 3 people are killed, and investigations have proven that majority of these guys doing these killings have dreadlock. Thugs here in Mina are mostly seen with dreadlocks, so please don't judge without knowing anything about what you are making judgments on. Thank you. And finally, on the story, this user actually wrote, does Mr. Bago realize this is 2025 and not 1914? Beautifying my hair, however way I choose, is never a crime. Leaders with this kind of thought process are exactly why we have a country like this. Anyway, so yesterday I was here telling you about the news that the presidency is about to get solar panel in the presidential villa. And so yesterday the presidency hadn't reacted to this, but just to let you know that Bayo Onanuga yesterday came out to defend the presidency's plan to spend 10 billion naira on a solar mini grid in the presidential villa. Well, citing the example of the United States White House, which has adopted similar energy practices. Now, in a post on his verified X account yesterday, Bayo Onanuga, special advisor on information and strategy to President Bola Tinubu, described the initiative as a global practice. Well, Bayo Onanuga yesterday was trying to compare the U.S. White House and down here in Nigeria, saying if the U.S. can use solar panel in their White House, why can't we? He even released a video to buttress his claim. Let's have a feel of the video.
Solar panels in the White House, I think, are a really important message that solar is here. We are doing it. We can do a lot more. I am very bullish on the future of solar energy as a key part of our clean energy future.
The size of the array that we established here is the typical size for the average American house. Being at the White House, we do have some security concerns. We can't cover the entire roof with panels, so that would be good from an energy saving standpoint.
Everything from the solar component
So basically, it's a clear case of if the U.S. can have solar panels, why can't we have solar panels in the presidential villa? Well, let's move over to tweets and see what Nigerians have been reacting to on this particular one, and of course, especially the Gen Z's folk, right? So this one, Osazu says, Mr. Onanuga, you're not being sincere with and fair to the Nigerians your government is meant to be serving. You think it is right that Aso Rock should go off grid and give itself 24-hour power at taxpayers' cost, while Nigerians cannot afford the cost of grid power when it is available. Another user responding to this trending story says, just 2 weeks ago, your Minister of Power reported that over 150 million households enjoy uninterrupted power supply. And then the Aso Rock planned to spend 10 billion naira for solar power in the midst of unprecedented hunger and hardship. Comparing the White House in the USA to the Aso Rock is the height of insensitivity, forgetting that there is 24-hour supply in America. Continue. Well, finally on this news, this user on X wrote, solar power or panel is installed in the White House, not for lack of electricity, but because they are trying to reduce global warming. Why in Nigeria they want to install solar panels in Aso Rock because of grid collapse or lack of electricity? The two are not the same. So let's pretty much get it straight. But anyway, moving over to other interesting trend and story. Now coming up next is the news from Nuhu Ribadu, who has always been in the news for interesting reasons. But this time around, the federal government has reiterated its commitment to addressing the insecurity confronting the country. Well, Nuhu Ribadu gave the assurance yesterday during his visit to Benue State to commiserate with the government and the people of the state over the loss of lives caused by the recent surge in insecurity. He says, and I quote, that we are not doing badly despite these challenges. The present administration has done fairly well. Though the issue isn't over, insecurity is not something that can be easily addressed, he said. Now let's listen to him verbatim.
Nigeria has been a victim of this type of things. Many countries in the world, many of the countries have lost the fight against these evil people. Sudan today do not have government. Niger today is a military government. Mali is a military government. Burkina Faso is a military government. They face the same problem we are talking about. I worked in Afghanistan in the past. Today, those people who we went, the whole world went to confront, to fight, are the ones who are in charge of Afghanistan. Just to tell you, today in our country, I believe that we are not doing badly, given the massive nature of the problem and the challenge. There is no part of Nigeria today is controlled by them. There is no part of Nigeria is controlled and politically in charge by them. We have done fairly well. We are not yet over. Issue of security or insecurity is not an issue that you can instantly say you...
Well, you've heard it all. We have done fairly well. That's Nuhu Ribadu giving the federal government some credit regarding the situation of things in the country, regarding security as well. But anyway, moving over to tweets. Let's see what social media users are saying and still tweeting at this point on the story. This user wrote, it is easy to tell the people to be patient in every matter that does not directly affect you. Another user on Instagram says, what's your business with the many other countries that have lost the war against insecurity? Focus on that which concerns you. Well, that's Bobby on Instagram. Well, still in this news, this user wrote, now let's see what we have next. Mr. Buki says, any governments that compare themselves with another country, never they ready. And finally on the story, we'll move over to another user who also is reacting. And this one actually says, if we could have another tweet, as we get to move over to another interesting story. Emmanuel says, allow Nigerians to self-defense. The Nigerian citizen will deal with it faster. Now, as we wrap up TMI Socials today, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has refuted recent comments made by Pastor Kwoju, founder of the Covenant Nation, regarding the cost of medical education in Nigeria. Well, in a now viral sermon, Pastor Kwoju claimed that Nigerian doctors spend just 500,000 naira throughout their education, constructing this with a significantly higher cost incurred by their U.S. counterparts. Now, citing conversations with Nigerian doctors that works in Johns Hopkins, he lamented that what he described as ingratitude among Nigerians, arguing that many don't appreciate the subsidized system that produces them. So basically, he said the Nigerians are actually ungrateful regarding Nigeria's system. Now let's have a feel of Pastor Kwoju and move over to reactions.
I now found a group of people, and people have been programmed on social media to hate their country, which is self-hatred. I was in America. I sat down with some Nigerians, and they started. I told them, I said, listen, before you continue, Nigeria, a person will graduate as a medical doctor and spend 500,000 throughout to become a doctor. Throughout. I said in America, and they're working in Johns Hopkins. Go and ask them how much. You graduate from Johns Hopkins, you graduate from Harvard as a doctor, and you spend $2,000. Are you okay? Do you know how much money you spend? Nigerians are ungrateful. They will go through everything, education. How much do they spend there? Go there. I said, look, you will see a Nigerian, if they tell him in Nigeria to do 2 jobs, he will cost your life out. He will come to America, wake up in the morning, do first job, do second job, do Uber, and do everything he's doing. I said, if they put the fraction of this energy they put here in their country, they will have blown. They kept quiet. He told me, he said, listen, what's your plan?
And interestingly, NARD, that's Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, have come out to refute the statement and said it's not true. Let's have the response of NARD on the screen where they actually said no. But come to think of it, how would you spend 500,000 naira in Nigeria for just medicine alone throughout the whole period in school? That is totally out of it. But moving over to tweets, let's have a couple of reactions. And we also saw NARD responding yesterday as well. This one says, even if it's a native doctor, can you train him with 500K? Please tell me about it. And then another user says, why does President Tinubu opt for medical treatment in France and in the United Kingdom rather than utilizing the teaching hospitals in Osun State? Well, finally on this news, finally on the story, this user says, dear Presidency, which public university do students pay 500K to study medicine, including tuition, living expenses, practicals, and all? Dear Presidency, what is the average monthly salary of a doctors in Nigeria, and what is the average monthly salary of their counterparts in the U.S.? Dear Presidency, what is the average state of medical facilities in Nigeria compared to those in the U.S.? And it goes on and on and on. Now, this is how we wrap up TMI Socials this morning. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, just in case you see a school, having your tuition fee for 500K throughout the whole year, let me in on it. I am Nuhu Stevens, and from all of us on This Morning on ITV, Lagos, Abuja, and right here in Edo State, have yourself a blessed day ahead.